more deliberate, much more of a grinder wrestler. Much like Heskett, who just won for Iowa State. That's the style of Parker. But this freshman from Pennsylvania wrestling for Greg Turnbull at West Virginia University is something special. He's got a lot of talent, extremely quick, and it seems his conditioning is good. And he comes from a family of wrestlers. Curtis Jones, a three-time All-American, his brother at West Virginia.
10 seconds.
With that amount of time to go, a 3-point lead for Jones from West Virginia.
Good scramble. Great scramble there. No points.
In 2 minutes, this could be a huge moment for the 19-year-old freshman from West Virginia, Greg Jones.
Greg Parker right up the road here from Albany at Shenendehowa High School. I actually watched him develop, watch him win his state championship. He trains at the local club. His coach back then, Stan Harper and Rob Week. His coach now at Princeton, Mike New.
He's been hurt since the first period. Hence the 2-point deficit. But you know what? He's still in here.
5'3".
Yeah, and he looks stronger now than he did right after that injury. Although, again, Jones trying to get him up on the air. And there's 2 points for the takedown.
And Parker tried a real unorthodox attempt at countering that, diving between his own legs to snare Jones's ankle, but Jones too quick, prepared for it. Avoids it, gets the takedown. Got to a 7-3 lead. Now with that, Parker escaped 7-4. Parker also faces riding time. Jones has accrued over a minute. That's another point for the West Virginia wrestler. Parker faces an uphill battle now.
Kind of face masking him almost literally to say in your face. He's just kind of pushing him away.
Keeping the distance.
I'm in charge here.
Measuring the distance, not letting Parker too close. And Parker's got to become desperate now. We're down to a minute, and he's got to make up at least now 4 points. Well, not quite. He doesn't quite have riding time. Excuse me. So the score is 7-4. Needs at least a 4-point move, though.
He's fighting the clock. He's fighting injury. He's fighting Jones.
Hand fight. Move. Wrestle. Wrestle.
A 3-time New York State finalist is Greg Parker. He won one. And he's also a story of he's grown quite a bit. He used to be a lightweight, now all the way up to 174 pounds. And Jones continues to dominate. Wow. A red shirt freshman, as was Cale Sanderson. Who knows? Could Greg Jones be the next Sanderson as a freshman? Leading 9-5. Few seconds left, Adrian.
What a moment for a freshman. Holy cow. A national champion at 174 pounds. Parker was fighting, as I say, not only the injury from the first period, but then the clock, and then Jones, who really took advantage of a situation he knew of. He didn't exploit the injury of Parker. And a very kind gesture by Jones going over to shake the hand of the Princeton staff and hugs from his coaches. Well-deserved national championship at 174 pounds for the young man from Slickville, Pennsylvania. We'll be back to Albany and more of the NCAA Division I Wrestling National Championships right after this on ESPN2.
Can you hear me now? Good. Can you hear me now? Good.
How do you build America's largest wireless network?
Can you hear me now? Good.
By never being satisfied.
Can you hear me now?
Until no matter where you go,
good,
your call goes through.
Can you hear me now? Good.
Verizon Wireless. We never stop working for you.
This is Bob. Bob is doing well. Very well indeed. That's because not long ago, Bob realized that he needed something better in his life. And what did he get? Why, a big boost of confidence. A little more self-esteem.
This is round 2 of the 184-pound division. Rob Rohn from Lehigh, the senior in the brown singlet, versus Josh Lambrecht, his nemesis from Oklahoma, a junior. These two have a history. They saw each other twice earlier this year. They're 1-1.
There was Rohn being defeated by Lambrecht at last year's NCAA tournament, but he got revenge at this year's national duels. They're 1-1. And Roan actually started out first with the offense. He was able to get in on the legs of Lambrick. Right here you see it, a real hard fight here. Lifting, turning in, and right there you'll see him hook the ankle right there, and that gave him the takedown. We went up 2-0. Lambrick got 2 escapes, one in the first period, one here at the start of the second, to not to score 2-2, and we're scrambling again here.
These two wrestlers probably know each other as well as any other match that we have seen so far, and because of that, we've seen a lot of action. One offensive move will predicate a defensive move. You can always be on your toes or literally sometimes on your heels and know exactly what the other wrestler is doing. Point right there. You see how much action there is because they kind of know what the other is used to doing.
And Lambert not only getting the reversal, but now has back points. At least 2. No, he's got 3. He held him for the 5 count. Got him for the full 5-second count. That gives 3 points. And he's got him again. Nope. Yeah, there's at least 2 now. And there's another 3 points for Lambert. And he's blowing this match open.
3 points for Lambert.
10-2 now the score. And the Oklahomans got some breathing room.
He's been to the Nationals the last 2 years in a row. The 2000 Southern Conference champion. Then he transferred, of course, All-American last year. In the 184-pound division, Adrian Karsten, Jeff Blatnick, and Stacy Pates, as we anticipate wrestling history in our next weight classification. But before then, we're looking at a 10-point lead in the third period for Josh Lambrick, who's about to win a national championship. His first as a junior from Oklahoma.
Still got some time left here, but it's a big lead. 12-2, now 14-2, and Lambrick just seems to be piling on. Sometimes styles clash, and what really has been the difference is on top. Lambrick has turned Roan 3 times for back points, and he's blown this match open 14-3. Roan from Lehigh, coached by Greg Strobel, and he's got him on his back, in danger. And things happen quickly here. Roan looking for the fall against Lambrick of Oklahoma. Plenty of time, over a minute.
What a huge move for Roan, who is down by 10 points. He may have it.
He took the reverse headlock the opposite way and totally caught Lambrick by surprise.
5 counts inside the 45-degree mark would give him the match. A huge change.
And there's lots of time, still 40 seconds.
Roan from Lehigh on top was down by 10. He's going for the pin.
And that's what he has to do. And watch for Roan to start circling to his left. I don't like stepping over. He ain't going to get it done there. He's got to move to the outside, circle to the head to bring that shoulder down. There it is. He's getting close.
13,000 people here at the Pepsi Arena looking for the first pin of the 2002 NCAA National Championship.
There it is.
He's got it. What a huge turnaround from the young man from Lehigh University. Down by 10 points, Jeff. What a huge turnaround. I gotta eat my words, Jeff. I said Lambrick was about to win a national championship as a junior. That's why I love collegiate competition.
Without question, Roan never gave up.
Mental and physical discipline by the underdog, down by 10 points. What a beautiful, beautiful job by Rob Roan, the senior from Lehigh.
And this place has just gone nuts. This might be the loudest applause thus far we heard tonight. He was facing certain defeat, and he never gave up, got the pin.
Well, Stacy, he looks a little bit beat up, but I think he can get through the smile.
He is a little bit beat up, but I don't think that matters. Who cares at this point? My goodness, you were down by more than 10 points to come back and get a pin. The first one of the 2002 National Championships. What do you say?
Nothing, really. It's been a really weird tournament for me. I mean, almost every match I've done things that I haven't done during the year, but it worked, so I can't say anything about it.
Could you ever ask for anything more? This is the period on your senior year.
I know. I'm just happy as hell right now. I'm pretty much speechless.
Congratulations, guys. He is speechless, but can't blame him.
Jeff kicked Karsten in the backside. Oh, yeah, Lambrecht's about to win the national championship. Wrong.
Right there. Look at that.
We talked about how well these wrestlers know each other, and they know each other's moves. He took advantage of it. Good run.
What he did right here is classic textbook. He knew he had time. He secures the hold, kills all momentum, and then he got out to the side. The leverage brings that shoulder down, earns the fall. Stunning, stunning comeback.
Classic textbook. This is a payoff for a head coach.
That's Greg Strobel. He was an Olympic coach, and he's brought Lehigh back to the forefront.
A victory classic textbook now open the history books to a blank page and sharpen the pencil. Cael Sanderson may be about to make history.
In the summer of two
events without a defeat. Well, now Cael Sanderson may reach the highest amateur athletic achievement. Perfection is possible. His father coached him. His brothers pushed him. He's dominated his opponents since he was 9 years old. Unlike other near-perfect young athletes, Cael wasn't humbled when he entered college. Iowa State, nonetheless. 39-0 and national champ as a freshman. 40-0 as a sophomore. Another title closing in on history. In 2001, he smashed Dan Gable's 31-year record for consecutive victories, tacked on 40 more wins and a third national title at 184 pounds. Well, this season, he moved up to 197. He got engaged to girlfriend Kelly Kennard and defeated 39 more opponents. 158 in all have taken him on. He has taken them down. With 84 gold medalists Jeff Blatnick and Stacy Pates, I'm Adrian Karsten. We have been wrestling with words all day long on how to set this up. It was 32 years ago this weekend that when Dan Gable, the name synonymous with national championships, lost at 99-0 his very last match as a senior. You saw the record of Cael Sanderson. No athlete in the history of college competition has gone undefeated with 4 national championships. We could be watching history, though.
I too have been wrestling with words how to describe him. Phenomenal, unique, unprecedented.
13,000 plus come to their feet here at the Pepsi Arena in Albany, New York. There is nothing in the history of sports. Mark Spitz, Edwin Moses, Eric Heiden. They all did their things for different medals at different times, at different places, in different times. And the amount of time they had to compete. We're looking at most here, probably 7 minutes for a young man from Iowa State, and fittingly, Dan Gable came from Iowa State. We spoke with him earlier on. He wishes him nothing but the best. But remember, 32 weekends, or 32 years ago this weekend, 99-0, in comes Dan Gable, and he lost to Larry Owens.
Big upset. And I'll tell you what, that motivated Gable to go out and win the Worlds, win the Olympics, and then as a coach, win 15, 16 national titles for Iowa. And you almost have to wonder if Cael Sanderson has a poster in his room. I am not Dan Gable, because they compare him to him. But his opponent here, John Trench, Sanderson has dominated everybody. Pinned, technical fall, or forfeit. There's only 2 matches he didn't do it. He won by 10 and then 6-1, and it was against this man, John Trench of Lehigh.
For the NCAA National Championship at 197 pounds, Cael Sanderson trying to make history in the red singlet from Iowa State, and John Trench from Lehigh. A sophomore versus, obviously, the senior.
One other important thing to note here. First time today that I've seen it, but Lehigh with Greg Strobel and Bobby Douglas of Iowa State, they have both been Olympic coaches. And it's the first time 2 Olympic coaches have been sitting in opposite corners, looking at one another with their athletes on the mat.
They're trying to win on points. 2 for a takedown, 2 for a reversal, 2 for a near fall, 3 points for a fall, practically the pin, and 1 point for an escape. Now, keep in mind 2 things. So far in competition, John Trench has pinned his first 3 opponents. No one other wrestler out of 320-odd or 330 have done that. The closest match that Sanderson had this year was against this man, John Trench. What a match.
This 6-1 match that I witnessed at the Coaches Association Classic, sort of an all-star match in wrestling. Trench was ultra-conservative. He learned the first time going out and trying to mix it up with Sanderson. He lost by over 10. Second time he tried conservative, and he kept the match close. But there's no denying Sanderson. He gets on the board first. He may get back points. He does have back points.
Is it speed? Is it strength? Is it a combination?
It is all of the above. He isn't strong in one area and uses it to his advantage. He's strong in every area. And that's what has set him apart. That is what has made him unique.
Boy, he's going to get this. There is no holding back here whatsoever. I don't think that there is any other sport, collegiate or otherwise, that demands more discipline, physically or mentally. That in the person you see is Mom Debbie and the rest of his family.
What a way to go out with a fall. What a way to go out in a collegiate season. Gable said it best. Cael has brought to wrestling a whole new tactical and technical area. He is something new. He is an evolution.
Undefeated, potentially a 4th consecutive national championship. Both Gable and Sanderson from Iowa State.
Steve Sanderson, his father.
Recording the moment, obviously.
And he was the coach at Wasatch High School in Heber City, Utah, in which all the brothers, Cody, Cole, Cael, and Kyler, who just won a state title in high school, came through.
Another name synonymous with national championships, the head coach from Iowa State, Bobby Douglas, has been around practically forever. He's done a beautiful job with all of his athletes here today. But what a golden moment for Bobby Douglas. Technically, look at Sanderson. There's Bobby. He's going for the fall.
Watch Sanderson come again. There it is. Unbelievable how consistent, aggressive, and he doesn't cut you a break. Not at all. He's always on you.
I will say this. In our previous match at 184 pounds, there was a Lehigh wrestler who was down by 10 points, came back and pinned his opponent. It shocked this entire house. Anything is possible.
Anything is possible, and here you see Trench now working hard to get back in the match.
Sanderson trying to put his picture in the history books when we return.
Moo.
Practically 4 minutes away from making history. If Cael Sanderson, the senior from Iowa State, undefeated at this point, 158 wins, no losses, can do something otherwise, he will try and end this before the end of the third period, before the end of regulation. His opponent, John Trench. They know each other well. Trench here since Thursday pinned his first 3 opponents. Very impressive. No other wrestler has even come close to that. There goes Sanderson. Look at the speed.
Move.
Shooting low, going for the ankles. Up Trench from Lehigh.
That is his signature move, is the ankle pick, and he caught Trench with it. Trench fully aware that's what he likes to do, but Trench has to get on his horse. He's down 9-2. He knows he needs to score points. And as he becomes more offensive, believe it or not, Cael Sanderson becomes more dangerous.
3-time NCAA champion at 184. Then he bulked up to 197. 4-time Big 12 champion. 2-time academic All-American. Most impressive and most important, 2-0 against John Trench.
Well, Sanderson likes to hunt and fish. I wonder if he does catch and release. I kind of doubt it. And I'll tell you, he's one of the most quiet and unassuming and humble individuals you'll ever meet. The only time I ever saw him get emotional after one of his championships was as a freshman, when that might have been really big and bright. After that, it's been all business.
Well, he's trying to catch a whopper here, and if he lands this one, he better have more than 197-pound test line, I'll say that.
And if anybody's wondering what he's going to do when he's done, he's already made the comment. The Olympics are what separate the great wrestlers from the good ones. So he was already on this year's world team, but because of 9/11, Madison Square Garden was going to host the World Championships in September. That all got canceled, and Cael decided at that point he would focus on his college season rather than wrestle in the rescheduled ones in December. And he has been on course and focused.
His father pushed him, his brothers pushed him, coached him, supported him, as did his entire family. What a moment for them. Look at the intense look on both their faces. Dad's got one eye open, one eye closed. Mom might have both closed here in just a few moments.
Well, rumor had it that while they roughhoused, though they were told not to roughhouse in the house, supposedly Debbie did a little wrestling with all of his sons at one point or another.
The living room is not a playground.
And Bobby Douglas said she's the alpha of the house. So you got to wonder. It's in the family, it's in their blood, and it's certainly demonstrated by Cael Sanderson's skill and heart.
Again, we say we've been wrestling with words. Imagine this moment. This has never happened. Undefeated. The name Dan Gable. When you mention wrestling, people think Dan Gable. The next Dan Gable, his record potentially is going to be better. But after this victory, what is next for a Sanderson after the Olympics? There is no, quote, professional wrestling league. You can't be drafted.
No, it'll be Olympic-style wrestling. He'll probably wrestle in a couple world championships if he continues to develop. And I'm sure he's looking at his main goal right now, 2004 in Athens, Greece.
Drive his head down, drive his head down, drive his head down, drive that head down, pull it across your knee.
You hear Greg Strobel saying to Trench, drive Sanderson's head down, keep him down, don't let him get a head up and start moving around. Sanderson does it with motion. He doesn't do it with brute force. He moves in a different speed.
Kelly Kennard, very influential in his life.
Stand!
His fiance, and the voice and face of Bobby Douglas, his head coach, with 1 minute, 10 seconds left to go to a fourth consecutive NCAA national championship.
And here he comes. Just as Trench seems to be holding Sanderson down, Sanderson erupts, gets a reversal. 11-3 now the score.
I'm looking at the faces of the 13,000 plus around this Pepsi arena. They're anticipating the moment. They will know where they were when this happened.
It's almost as though they expect it. It's almost as though, and I'm not saying they're rooting against John Trench. Everybody loves to see the big upset as well. But it's just this overwhelming force. Year after year, people thought, well, somebody will have his number. But no one has been able to add up the numbers to find the answer to Cael Sanderson.
Now go. Start back. Good. Let's go. Lock him up. Let's go. Lock them up, let's go.
As if you could put a lock and key around Sanderson.
So what he's saying is get an upper body lock and go for broke. There's nothing to lose. If you're going to lose, you lose. So might as well go for broke. Get up there, lock upper body, try to throw Sanderson to his back, and do what his teammate Roan did. Come back from a big point deficit with the fall. But that's all it's going to take now. 16 seconds to history.
One of the first men on the mat, besides Bobby Douglas, his head coach, I can promise you, besides Jeff Blatnick, who was on his way to congratulate Cael Sanderson, is going to be Dan Gable. What a story. Both wrestlers from Iowa State. The dynasty, the history. The first man in the history of athletic competition to go undefeated, never a loss. 159 wins, no losses. 4 consecutive national championships. Cael Sanderson from Iowa State University. An Olympic gold medalist and a history maker. Jeff Blatnick and Cael Sanderson.
Jeff Blatnick with a victorious Cael Sanderson. You're the second to win 4 national titles, but you're the first to go undefeated. 159-0.
I don't know what to say. I'm pretty happy. It's very nice. Great.
Do you realize the enormity of your accomplishment?
I just know that I'm tired. I'm getting old. That's all I know. It's been a lot of fun, though.
Bobby Douglas said there's just been a ton of pressure. How did you deal with it?
Not very well. I just tried to stay focused on my next match as hard as it was, but I was real lucky.
Well, you don't look like you're old at all. What's next now after this?
I don't know. I'm going to sneak off and take my brother to take him fishing or something. I don't know.
How about the sport of wrestling? What's next for you there?
Oh, wrestling. I'm going to start training in about a week, less than a week. Get ready for freestyle. So that should be fun.
Well, Dan Gable was said to be the coach and the wrestler of the 21st century. You definitely, at the start of millennium, your name is synonymous with collegiate wrestling.
I've just been really fortunate. The amount of support I've had is unbelievable. You know, that's what it takes.
How important has been your family in this entire process?
Undescribable. I'm always looking for them whenever times are rough, and I don't know, it's hard to describe.
We heard your brother was chaperone. How tough has this been for your coach, and how important has he been in your career?
He's a phenomenal coach. He's brought me along so well. He's just a great man. He's a great friend, great person.
Now, we understand there's still another Sanderson coming. How important was this to your youngest brother?
Probably just going to put a little more pressure on him in his upcoming years, but he's having fun. He loves wrestling, and he's going to end up getting the same kind of love and support that I got from my family. So.
Well, the adulation of the crowd here at the Pepsi Arena is with you. And we actually have heard now there's actually promotions out with your name and likely lists, including a bobblehead doll.
Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing. I try not to comment too much on that. It's kind of hard to talk about. It's kind of weird. But it's our marketing department, Thad Dorn, did a real nice job for me this year. He promoted me and our team real well, and I appreciated his effort.
Well, my last question to you is, express to our fans, what do you think makes you different from all the other wrestlers here?
It's just a lot of luck, and just having the support from my family and the competitiveness we had growing up, and, you know, just everything. This is all about family. It's all about family.
Now, certainly the family has treated you well. Cael Sanderson, the first undefeated collegiate wrestler in NCAA history. Back to you, Adrian.
Jeff, it is all about family, and they're standing close by. 4 or 5 of the members, original family. Congratulations, Cael Sanderson. He's making his way to Stacy right now with the whole family. What a moment. Stacy.
Here you go, Greg.
Stacy, you're with Cael and his family.
You want to go up in the middle now, right here.
Debbie, such a proud moment for a mother. When I spoke to Dan Gable, he said that your son was well on his way to being the best collegiate wrestler the world has ever seen. How do you, as a mother, respond to such praise from a wrestling icon?
Well, it makes you really proud, and Dan Gable is right now, you know, the greatest, so I think that's quite a compliment.
Absolutely it is. And also, when I spoke to you, if your son was a basketball player, Cael would be pretty much ready to sign a 7-digit signing bonus right now. But
I could be driving a BMW.
And you could be driving a BMW. That's what I'm talking about. But because it is the sport of wrestling, how do you instill in your sons that you do the best you can do in everything you do?
I don't know. You just teach them to whatever they choose to do, to go after it and give it all they've got and don't hold back. And then you never look back and regret anything, as long as you give it all you've got.
And you may not be getting that BMW very soon.
Oh, I won't. I'm not.
But
I'd get too many tickets anyway.
But can you put a price tag on this moment for Cael?
No way. You can't. Money doesn't buy this kind of stuff. Money doesn't buy happiness. Oh, this is great.
I know that you're one of those mothers that doesn't like whiners. I think that a lot of his mental toughness probably comes from you. You always tell him to get up, get out there, and do the best he can do. And you're not showing a lot of emotion right now. Will you cry later, or are you just this tough?
I'm just relieved. I was worried about this kid. He's tough, and, boy, a lot of pressure. You know, it can change your style, but he went out and got things done. I'm so proud of him. He did what he needed to, and that's great.
And we congratulate you, Debbie, and your family, the Sanderson family. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Let's go back to the booth.
In no other sport can you score as few number of points in a shorter period of time, with more emotion and with more dedication, and win a national championship in the hearts of America than NCAA wrestling. History has been made in Albany, New York. Well, from a collegiate standpoint, Cale has come to the end of his road. From his freshman year until today, 159 matches. He didn't lose a one. 4 times a national champion. Finally, the heavyweights compete. Tommy Rollins of Ohio State and Steve Mocco from Iowa. But I have to tell you, we're all just kind of sitting around shaking our heads in disbelief from what we just saw. What an accomplishment. To say we wrestled with words to try to describe it, I think we're still doing the same thing. And you're going to take me down probably and get the points.
I really think the crowd has a hangover from, the excitement and the adulation that they gave them. But there's 2 good athletes out here, both young for heavyweight. And what last year was thought to be maybe a weak weight class at heavyweight, this year it's turned out that it's one of the strongest. They're all young, they're all mobile, and none of them are really head or shoulders above the rest. They have to go out there and earn it. But Rollins lost on the tiebreaker in last year's final to Lockhart of Illinois, and Mocco was probably the most heavily recruited athlete in the country this past year. He made his choice from Blair Academy to the University of Iowa.
These behemoths are 285 plus. I remember 285. Heck, when I was playing with that brown ball and the white laces, I remember 307. Things have changed, Mr. Blackman.
Yes, they have. And the heavyweights tend now to be a little bit smaller than that 286, but much more mobile. Not the typical push, shove, one-move affair, but a lot more motion.
Surprised to see 2 underclassmen here, a freshman and a sophomore?
In a way, I am, but at the same time, I'm not because of their talent level. Rollins was here last year. This is his 2nd straight final. Coached from Iowa's coached by Jim Selesky, 3-time national champion, and the Ohio State Buckeyes, coached by a guy named Russ Hellickson, silver medalist in '76. He was an 80 Olympian. I had the fortunate time to train, well, maybe it was a little unfortunate at the time to train with him. Very good wrestler, but he also did the commentary for my match at the Olympics, and then I work with him doing Olympic commentary now.
As big as these 2 young men are, I take us back to the 125 weight pound classification. The kind of moves we saw then, they're not quite as quick, but they're as agile. And they make the same kind of moves, and they get the same kind of holds as quickly as even the lighter guys.
I had a friend who said, heavyweight class is different. And I looked at him, I said, I do the same moves. He looked at me, he goes, no, your weight class is different. But these athletes tend to show that it isn't. They do a lot of the same moves that the lightweights do. It just seems heavyweight's a little more final. You get a guy on your back at heavyweight, it usually ends. 4-time national champion at Blair Academy was Mocco. Storied youth career. But he's with the big boys now, and he's showing he can hang with them. Rollins has got his hands full.
He does. They've wrestled 3 times prior. This is their 4th match, and Rollins is trying to even the score. He's 1-2 against Mocco this past season.
Now, both are a little conservative. They haven't taken the amount of shots that they normally do in a match. Mocco with a bit of an attempt there, but really didn't commit to the penetration step. And once again, there's a setup, and then you got to get to the hold. And to get underneath your opponent, you need a good penetration step, and then the finish. And they haven't really gotten past the setup stage here. There's a shot by Roland, but he never got to the leg, and Mocco was waiting, nearly turned the corner.
You feel the table just shake here when they both went down? I mean, that's practically 600 pounds of bad behavior right there.
And Tommy Roland with 2 leg attacks, but never even got to grab the leg of Mocco.
We're very close. This is many times what happens.
Well, Mocco may get him. No. Roland's able to come up, and now he's got a single. He could get a takedown here in the last 10 seconds.
Remember, Roland scored first.
Out of bounds. Mocco survives. Roland needs to try again. 9 seconds remain. Oh, foot sweep by Mocco, but he gives him the leg in the process.
Couldn't complete the move quickly enough.
No, and Rollins just can't seem to deal with the leverage of that left leg of Mocco. He can't pull it in. Mocco counters him out. We go to 1 minute of sudden victory.
The situation.
First point wins.
I really don't know who has the advantage here yet. I know that Rollins scored first early on. I don't see any fatigue. Perhaps the most evenly matched situation we have seen all day.
Now, Rollins seems to me to be a little bit more tired Mako is standing straight up and just driving into Rollins and pushing him around now. I wonder if Rollins spent himself with those 2-3 shots at the end of regulation.
I got to tell you, Mako had that look when he came out. You know, I didn't see him out here when Sanderson made history. He really hid himself. I did, however, see Rollins, and I thought that was very interesting.
Crowd yelling here. They don't like to see Rollins push out of bounds. And when I say crowd, I mean those yellow and black Iowa fans that occupy the whole corner of this arena.
Mako's victory wouldn't mean a whole lot in the Hawkeye situation as far as team points is concerned.
Well, they love a
Minnesota's gonna
national
win
champion.
that,
No, they
holy
want a
cow.
national champion.
Yep. And they've had their opportunities today, but haven't been able to come through.
Double leg blast attempt by Rollins. No setup really there, and Mako able to counter. Rollins, really a great athlete. Last year, a lot of attacking, a lot of shooting. He really wasn't able to score, but very, very aggressive.
Now, Rollins scored first, even though it wasn't 2 points. Does he have the advantage now as we go to the tiebreak?
Well, here we go. This is the advantage. Green won the coin toss. You can bet Mako's going to choose down.
Yep.
And once again, Rollins is facing a tiebreaker in the finals of the Nationals, stuck in the top position.
What a
Normally
day this
it's
has
an
been.
advantage, but 90% of the time they win from the bottom. He's got to ride him. Mako's got to escape.
He's got to clear that leg, but Rollins had the leverage there.
Now it gets dicey. There's the stalemate. If he does that again, he can hit for stalling, but right now there has been no stalling call.
Does Mako need to shoot out with his feet more quickly?
Hand control first. When you get the hand control, that frees up your hips to do the moving. Look for him, head back, rounded shoulders. His hands will come up to try to intercept Rollins' hands.
I figured he just tried to
right
sit
now,
out.
there it is.
If he can turn him.
He's got to bring him back down to the mat. There's the stall call against Rollins. Next one will result in a point. 11 seconds remain.
With the way this day has gone, with what we've seen Sanderson accomplish to go to the final 11 seconds to determine a national championship for 2 underclassmen at 1 point in time. It's unbelievable. The NCAA.
Rollins has got to return him to the mat. Got to return him to the mat. And that's going to do it. Rollins is going to hang on. He's going to win it. Rollins avenges last year's tiebreaker loss from the worst position possible.
Unbelievable.
On top.
I would have given it to Mako, the freshman, right there. A 1-1 tie takes us to the tiebreaker. A stalling caution. Tommy Rollins, the sophomore, beats the freshman as a heavyweight national champion. We'll be back with some final thoughts from Albany, New York, and the NCAAs in a moment. A Wrestling Championships is brought to you by Coca-Cola and by New Balance, makers of performance footwear and apparel. Rah, rah, rah for Skyuma. 2 years in a row, the University of Minnesota Golden Gophers take that first place team trophy back to Minneapolis, St. Paul. Interesting shortly to find out what Jay Robinson is going to have to say about what he has done against the states of Iowa and Oklahoma. By 22.5 points, they beat Iowa State. Sanderson's victory is what put them up into second position, then the Oklahomas, and one more team from the Hawkeye State. Second year in a row, Minnesota wins the national championship. What does that mean for the future of the program? Their individuals 2-1 today, Stacy.
Coach Jay Robinson, from the inception of this tournament, the 2 states that are normally the winners of this event are Iowa, Oklahoma. And now you are indeed 2 in a row. Are you the beginning of a dynasty?
I think that's a lot to say, a dynasty, but I think that we made a statement that we're for real and that we came back and we defended our title, and that's what we wanted to do. We just wanted to say that last year wasn't a fluke.
Compare it to last year, because you are coming back with a great balance.
Well, we had good depth coming back, but our guys wrestled, but we wanted to push some guys in the finals. That was our goal this year, and we got 3 in the finals and 2 champions, so we feel really good about that.
Coach Robinson, congratulations, back-to-back national champions.
Thank you very much.
Jeff, honestly, my memory in wrestling, quite honestly, has always been your reaction when you fell to your knees after the '84 gold medal victory. Put what happened today in perspective with that. What does this mean?
Well, I guess the way I feel about it is people may think, hey, Albany's the area where Jeff Platnick, Olympic champion, came from. Well, Jeff Platnick, as an Olympic champion, is proud to say Albany is where Cael Sanderson made history.
An historic day for the sport and the family that this sport has become. Dave Barnett and Nancy Lieberman are standing by to call the women's NCAA basketball tournament. For Jeff Platnick and Stacy Pates and our entire ESPN wrestling team, I'm Adrian Karsten. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.
In the Hawkeye State, the season, Iowa Wrestling Part 2 is next. At 9, the new Young Guns and the Clip Joint.
We don't win this game. Our dreams are shattered.
That's a team right there, baby.
Don't celebrate. This is how we gotta play.
Leave it. Leave it.
Go out there and beat Army.
It's the purest approach to the game is that you come to the ballpark as a member of the team ready to play.